Well, right back at you. You're frustrating too, my friend. Anyway, this is Statesville Chamber Day. We've got David Bradley, head of Statesville Chamber of Commerce. Welcome back, David. We're happy to have you.
Hey, thank you, guys. It's always a pleasure to be here, and the studio is looking beautiful.
They are sexy in this thing up, aren't they?
They really are.
Holy cow. I sort of feel out of place.
Well, you could have, wore like a coat and tie.
Right.
You could have done that.
It's Friday.
Yeah, like
it's
we do.
Friday.
Now, let me tell you, just so you know, don't you ever show up in this studio when the big guy's here with no socks. Don't do it. He'll freak out about that.
I'll be honest with you. My feet smell so bad.
Oh, gosh.
So
TMI. Okay.
Okay, we don't have to worry about that.
Who's our guest today?
I am so thrilled actually to have a couple great guests today. And the first one is Brian Bauer. Brian is the general manager at Statesville Country Club. And one of the reasons why it's so good to have Brian here, it's critically important for this community to have a facility like Statesville Country Club that through the course of the economic downturn had its troubles. And at this point in time, thanks to Brian and the efforts of the owner, Don Beaver, that is truly a showplace for this community, and it's a phenomenal spot. So, Brian, thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, Brian, thanks for coming, buddy. We appreciate it.
David, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate the invite, and excited to be here in Statesville Country Club. Moved here about 2.5 years ago, and really enjoying. My family and I are really enjoying the time spent here, and the people have been nothing more than welcoming to us all. So we're really enjoying.
I don't know how this has happened, but I've never been in your studio. I mean, inside your club.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I mean, you would have think David would have invited me once.
I didn't think you would stoop down to my level.
We're going to change that, though. I'm going to make a point of it. Yeah, I'm going to make a point of it. Well, Brian, tell us, I like to hear the story of how you got here, so you don't have to go back to 1962, but tell us how you end up in Statesville running the Statesville Country Club.
Well, I've been in the club industry for over 25 years. I cut my teeth as a PGA golf professional 25 years ago in New Jersey, a club called Forsgate Country Club, and was mentored and had some great people that had actually guided me along the ways to becoming the professional that I was. And with that, as I watched the industry grow, I noticed that the PGA golf professional was an important part of all club operations, not just the golf, and noticed that club management was really a spot where I thought I could really do well and had the drive to do it and the passion to do it. So I started to focus my attention on club management and did that through the PGA as well, club management, but also Club Managers Association of America. Through that, became the director of golf and general manager of a property down in Florida, a brand new startup club, Arnold Palmer Signature Golf Course in Palm Bay, Florida, and ran that for 9 years, built it and ran it and from the ground up. So I have a good experience on running operations from startup operations, which led me down here to Statesville Country Club, which was almost another redo with a club that was owned by a lot of members and was a member-owned club. It needed to be retooled and relooked at from a standpoint of basically another new business. And Mr. Beaver needed someone to come down and run it. We talked, and I said I'd like to see what we can do together and see if we can make this place happen again. So.
Right.
It's a little unusual, is it not, to have a golfing background to be the general manager. I only know I've got a son that's a golf pro, and I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying so often they're more pure management people than someone that's necessarily came from the golfing side. So I find that interesting. So.
Well, yeah, it is not so much anymore today in today's age. The PGA is definitely focused on club management more so than anything else, realizing that the golf component of clubs is so important to a successful and healthy club operation.
Absolutely.
So that's happening more and more, as you see.
Very neat.
Mm. So walk me through how you get into the food service side of that, because that in itself is a very challenging industry to pick up.
A lot of what I've done was hands-on. I had a great family that I went to work for down in Florida, the Frazier family, who had owned Atlantic City Country Club for many years. Their father was the past president of the PGA of America as well. But their food and beverage component at Atlantic City was second to none. It was sought after and known for its food and beverage quality. So when I went to work work for them, I was educated a lot more in the food and beverage side with their help, the two brothers and one brother-in-law. And really learned and cut my teeth in food and beverage that way through hands-on. I also worked as a prep chef in a kitchen early on in my life as well before I became a PGA golf professional. So I have experience in kitchens and know my way around a kitchen pretty well as well.
You know, I've got a couple of friends that have owned some golf clubs, and they tell me the quickest way to lose money is to own a golf course. Walk me through some of the challenges, the financial challenges of this industry. It's not easy to do. There's a lot of moving parts.
Well, depending on the business model, you know, a private club is mostly going to be funded based on dues, membership dues. That's what drives the whole bottom line is membership dues. So the key for this business that we're in right now is to bring more members to our club. So that being the bottom line, that's the most important component. The others are there to help with it, but they're not really the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is really to bring more members to the club to drive that bottom line, and membership dues to help drive the whole budget and be able to have a successful club. So the other components obviously are the food and beverage components, the golf components, the guests that you bring, the merchandise sales. Outing business is huge, and also food and beverage and banquet business is very big in club industry right now with private clubs specifically.
So what are you saying to the public out there? Why should they consider being members of your club? I mean, like a lot of clubs, I mean, it's had some problems in the past, but you've been there now 2.5 years. So, you know, what do you tell people? What incentivizes them to want to be part of your club there?
Family lifestyle is our real mantra. A family lifestyle that encompasses the ability to have multiple components that is going to make up things for families to do there, for the children, for the mothers, for the women, and for the fathers. It's hard for one man to justify anymore a club membership for himself because it takes time away from the family. If you have those components and those programs in place to be able to have them all be able to do something at the club, that's when it really becomes a value to the actual people that are purchasing the membership.
And it's got to be more pressure on the club to provide all of those different things, because what I want, my wife wants, my son wants are all different.
There's no question it takes the professionals in their specific departments in order to pull that off. Hiring, we talked about hiring, you mentioned before, hiring is such a key component to that because you have to be able to delegate and you have to be able to let these people do what they do as professionals. And to do that, you have to train them up. There's no question about it. But leading by example is also a huge component of that as well. People have to see that you're passionate about what you do, and then they'll be able to take that and run with it to be able to facilitate what the membership needs. We're excited about what the potential is for.
And you certainly do appeal to every member of the family, as I recall. I mean, you've got exercise rooms, you got a pool, you got tennis, you've got golf, you got activities.
We do,
and food.
Yeah,
so what more do you need?
And
right?
that's the main one that brings them all together is the food component, because everybody eats, right? Everybody eats.
I mean, I like to eat. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
really, Joe.
And guys, I will also attest that it's good to have all of those components, but to really become an attraction, you have to have very quality components. And the tennis courts are some of the best tennis courts in Iredell County. The golf course has through its renovation has become one of, if not the best golf course in Iredell County. Certainly probably the best golf course in within 10 miles of where we sit. And the food is extraordinary. It's an incredible value for the entire family.
Wayne, would you know that? Because I wouldn't know that because I haven't been invited.
Would you go to lunch with me?
Yeah,
exactly.
See, somehow it all comes back to Joe. Somehow.
Exactly. Now we're starting to understand why we're all here this morning.
Very cool. Very cool.
Let's talk a little bit about. I use Wayne's membership all the time up at the peninsula.
Yeah, Joe's one of those people that use other people's membership.
Yeah. I think they think I'm a member. I use Wayne's membership so much.
Well, Joe, we have memberships available still at Statesville Country Club. We'd love
There
to
you
have
go, Joe.
Well, and that's what I want to talk to you about, because the business guy tends to use it during the day. Wayne and I do seminars and events that are very successful in nice locations. Does that happen a lot with what you're doing now currently? I mean, are you working on both ends of the spectrum? Because a lot of times the business guy only uses it for business and does not use it for sort of a more personal level.
Well, no question. The corporate business side model is one that we want to cultivate for sure in Statesville. We're still on the front end of that. We're really trying to cultivate that and bring more corporate business to the club. It's basically families right now, but we think I know it's a huge component of club industry business, is that business on a golf course is done like nothing else, because you have quality time with someone that you wouldn't normally have 15, 20 minutes in a meeting. You got 4 hours of quality time on a golf course to spend with them and really get to know that individual from a business setting and know if you really want to do business with that person as well. So,
well, for me, it's also lunches and breakfast where I can have a meeting and it's not so loud, but yet it's still an open environment. So for me, it's sort of a controlled environment, but the client doesn't necessarily feel like it's private, which can become intimidating in my business.
I agree 100%.
Let's take a break. David, thank you so much for bringing Brian